What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, AmericanMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And this movie was released in 2000. That means it's celebrating its 25th anniversary in 2025. Easy math. We're in an easy math here. uh, it's Erin Brockovich. And I did watch this with audio description. It's currently on Netflix, but it may not always be there. Oftentimes I don't tell you where things are because it's more of proof that audio description exists, and because things bounce around from service to service. And I just want to say that this does have audio description. Also, now that I'm looking at my YouTube statistics, I have a decent amount of people who don't live in this country that are watching me, which means their streaming access is completely different. Like what we have in Netflix US is not the same as, so when I say Netflix, like I hope people also hear my American accent and then just assume, you know, so that the guy watching me in the Netherlands is like, oh, it's on Netflix. Plus, the review is going to be up for years, and then it won't be on Netflix 3 years from now when somebody finds my Erin Brockovich review. So, ignore me. This movie stars Julia Roberts, Albert Finney, and Erin Brockovich. Aaron Eckhart. um, I can't. I have to keep that. Steven Soderbergh directs, and it's the winner of. It's an Academy Award winning film. 2000 was a great year for Steven Soderbergh. He also had Traffic, which was ultimately, the director film for him. But Erin Brockovich opened in the spring. And so the fact that it was one of those rare spring movies that carried Oscar buzz through the whole season says a lot for the movie. And I think people really like this movie. I think people enjoy this movie. I think it's constantly, it's not referred to as being as like one of the greats because it's one of those predictable feel-good legal drama type movies where you're like, I know where this is headed. And to that I would say, to the critics who didn't like this movie because it didn't offer, first of all, that's the true story aspect of it. So it's going to go in the way in which it's going to go. But when you see a story that doesn't end happily or ends in a different way, critics still don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this genre seems to be hard to please. Like, there's always a chunk of people who just don't like this type of film. Now, Spotlight may be a little bit of an exception in terms of sort of uncovering things that went wrong, but that's also not a court drama. I think about like Promised Land with Matt Damon, and that movie sort of had like a twist at the end, and that was not beloved by critics. It's a good movie. It's just not something that people are like, oh, and it's like, well, it didn't end in your happy, happy, joy, joy way, like as every other film does, where it's like, yeah, we triumph, we won, you know. So it's like watching sports movies where like the team loses at the end, an inspirational sports drama where the team doesn't win. There just aren't a lot of those. Of course they're gonna win in the end. Like, who wants to watch the other? Who wants to watch this movie to find out they lost? It just is me like, oh my god, this horrible stuff is happening. And could you imagine if we just had like, if every legal movie was that instead? It would be so depressing to just watch the little man constantly losing in court. So, Julia Roberts here is fantastic, and I have absolutely zero problem with her being the Academy Award winner for this. It's one of those things where you can say, yeah, it was a long time coming for her, and that's why she won. But it's also, in terms of her performances across the years, I'm not mad about it. Like, I'm not mad that this was the performance that she won for. Like, where else was she gonna win? Like, for what? August Osage County? Like, what, where else? Where's her win? So Ben is back. Like, where? I don't know. Anyway, I just, I think she was so great in this role, and just dominates the movie. But I also really love Albert Finney. I think he's great, but Albert Finney's always great. That's kind of his thing, is to just kind of be great in movies. He's got Big Fish after this coming up, and some other movies, but like I really loved him in Big Fish too. And I think Aaron Eckhart, this is a great sort of launching pad for him. He's fantastic in this. It would have been nice to see him get a nomination. It would have been nice to see Erin Brockovich bring its three actors along. I think definitely an expanded year of 10. This obviously gets Best Picture. But it's it is a, I acknowledge the fact that it's, you know, maybe not the film that everybody remembers from 2000, which this year was Gladiator, was what won for this year for Best Picture, which is a great win. That's a great win. But unfortunately, 24 years later, we released a sequel to it, but Gladiator was a good win. It's one of Ridley Scott's best movies. So, 2000. We're going to talk about how 2000 was a good year for film now. 1999 was a great year for film, but so was 2000. We had a lot of good movies in 2000. And that we don't like to always admit, but have held up. And I think Erin Brockovich has held up. I think watching her go up against PG&E, God, there's so many great scenes in this. Soderbergh directed the hell out of this movie. He knew exactly where to put the scenes, write the dialogue, and knock it out of the park. You know what I'm saying? Like the scene where she just, man, she's just tearing down the PG&E lawyers with the health problems of every single client, and then that Mrs. Was it Mrs. Lopez? She goes in and reaches for the drink, and she's like, "Enjoy that water. We had it flown in specifically for you from Hinkley." And then the lady just stops before she drinks it, and then she just puts it back down. I'm like, that's a great scene, objectively great scene. Like, that is a great scene in cinema because she's just had this big speech where she just owned the room, and this woman just like casually reaches for some water, and then like, by the way, enjoy that water. It's from Hinkley, and they're like, never mind. I mean, I've seen similar scenes like that too, where somebody drinks the water anyway. Like, since then, I've seen that scene done in another way, where somebody had to go ahead and drink the water. And I'm like, oh my God. Gross. There was another film, I can't think of what it was. So, yeah, it's, I enjoy this movie. And then the audio description's good. Like, I've seen Erin Brockovich a number of times. I'm gonna give this a high grade because I love this movie, and it does make me happy. I was watching the movie, and I was like, I'm happy now. This is a happy place movie. Just watching Julia Roberts walk around and own the shit out of everybody and just yell at everybody, and it'd be great. Of course, they adapted the Erin Brockovich story into Rebel years later, which only lasted for one season. It should have gone longer, with Katie Sagal. I actually like the TV show, too. I think I'm just prone to liking this character of Erin Brockovich, this strong female lead. That's a shout out. Yeah, I enjoyed Erin Brockovich, and I hope you do too. There's really not much else to say. It's based on a true story, so there's nothing really to spoil here. It's an Academy Award-winning movie, so it's kind of earned its place as a why should you watch it? Well, if you're going through and trying to knock off all of the Academy Award-winning movies, you're going to end up having to watch Erin Brockovich at some point in your life. So I do like this movie, and I would take it to a desert island with me. I do own this on physical media, but it doesn't have audio description, which is a shame. But I'm very happy to kind of be kicking off 2000 films with Erin Brockovich. Anyway, I'm giving Erin Brockovich an A+. It's coming to the desert island with me. It's elevated. There's enough. I remember working in a movie theater when this came out, and I remember where I was. I remember having seen it a bunch of times since then and loving every time. Movie never gets old. It never feels like something I don't want to see. I'm always anxious to see some of the scenes that I know are coming up. Like, I was waiting for that scene with the water. I was just waiting for that the whole time. I was like, how long into the movie is that? I forget. It's been a minute. Is it at the end? Where is that? Um, and of course, you know, the scene at the end with the, do they teach beauty queens how to apologize? Because you suck at it. Like, it's a great, Albert Finney was great. So, give it a look see, give it a once over. But yeah, it's good stuff. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.